As a retired doctor with over 40 years of experience, I've had the privilege of seeing all the miracles of healing, the heartbreak of patients who've suffered needlessly, and the quiet devastation of diseases that could have been avoided with a simple change in habits. One of the most heartbreaking conditions I've encountered in my career is arthritis, a disease that, for many, can steal away their freedom and joy. I'm not talking about just occasional stiffness or the creaks we all feel as we age. No, I'm talking about the kind of pain that makes simple tasks like picking up a cup of coffee or getting out of bed feel like climbing a mountain. And what if I told you that your daily habits, the very foods you eat, could be making it worse? What if you could be unknowingly feeding your arthritis and making it worse with every bite? Imagine waking up every day with stiff, swollen joints. Your knees creak when you try to stand. Your hands ache, making even the simplest tasks, like tying your shoes or opening a door, almost impossible. I've seen people lose their mobility, their independence, and sometimes even their will to live, all because of arthritis. But here's the thing that many people don't realize: it's not just the disease causing this pain. In many cases, it's the food you eat that's contributing to the pain, making everything feel 10 times worse. Now, as a doctor, I spent countless hours educating my patients about their condition. I saw many people come in with the same tired advice: take this painkiller and you'll be fine. But here's the reality: painkillers only mask the problem, they don't get to the root of it. I watched countless patients suffer because their arthritis wasn't just a result of age or genetics, it was fueled by their daily choices. The foods they loved, those comfort foods they thought were harmless, were quietly exacerbating their condition. I'm not talking about the occasional treat here and there. I'm talking about the hidden dangers that most people are blissfully unaware of: foods that seem innocent but are actually quietly inflaming your joints, day in and day out. Have you ever considered the possibility that the glass of soda you drink at lunch might be making your joints feel worse? Or the simple piece of white bread you eat every morning could be inflaming your body more than you can imagine? What about the bacon on your breakfast plate? Could that be contributing to your arthritis pain? You might think I'm exaggerating, but trust me, I've seen it time and time again. And the truth is, most of you are unknowingly making the situation worse with every bite. As a doctor, I've spent my life studying the effects of nutrition on the body. I've seen how certain foods can either calm inflammation or stoke the flames of it. And yet, time and time again, I watched patients continue to indulge in foods that were making them feel worse. Why? Because they simply didn't know better. They didn't realize that what they were eating wasn't just fueling their body, it was feeding their pain. It wasn't just about calories or nutrients. It was about how food can trigger the inflammatory response that is at the heart of arthritis. So, if you're one of those people who feels frustrated, who feels trapped in a body that is betraying you, I want you to pay attention. The foods you eat could be the culprit, but more importantly, they could be the solution. Now, I know that's a tough pill to swallow. It's hard to think that something as simple as food could hold that much power. But it does. I've seen it, and I've lived through it. As a doctor, my duty was to help people get better, and I always believed in giving them the truth. The truth is, arthritis isn't just a part of getting older. It's something that can be managed, sometimes even reversed, with the right knowledge. And that's what I want to share with you today. Before we dive into the specific foods that can make your arthritis worse, let me just say this: I've spent a lifetime learning and practicing medicine, but now, in my retirement, I'm taking the time to share my experience with you. I'm not doing this for fame or fortune. I'm doing it because I believe you deserve to live a life without pain, a life where you don't have to wake up in agony every day. If you've ever felt the frustration of waking up and wondering if the pain will ever go away, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. It's a small action that will not only support me but also give you access to more videos that could change your life. Together, we'll uncover the truths about the foods that fuel inflammation and the healthier alternatives that could make a world of difference. And now, I want to leave you with a question to think about. Which of these two statements do you believe is true? A: the foods you eat don't impact your arthritis pain. B: the foods you eat can significantly affect your arthritis pain and inflammation. Please leave your answer in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and get a conversation started. Your feedback helps me create more content that's relevant and useful to you, and I can't wait to read your answers. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. We're just getting started, and I look forward to guiding you on a journey towards better health and less pain. Stay tuned, your joints will thank you. As a retired doctor, I've had the honor of working with thousands of patients over my career, watching them struggle, suffer, and, in many cases, be misled by common advice. One of the most heart-wrenching things I encountered was the misunderstanding around food's role in arthritis. So many of my patients came to me assuming that their pain was an inevitable part of getting older, something they had to accept. They didn't realize that the very foods they ate every day were fueling their suffering, making the inflammation worse, and pushing them further into the cycle of pain. I often found myself telling patients that their battle with arthritis was not just about their joints, it was about what they put into their bodies. They didn't realize that something as simple as their lunch or dinner could make them feel worse. Over the years, I have learned that arthritis is a multifaceted disease, but what many fail to understand is how deeply nutrition influences it. In my many years of practice, I've seen the same foods repeatedly trigger symptoms and inflammation, making life harder for those who suffer. These foods may seem harmless on the surface, perhaps even comforting, but they are secretly doing harm, often worsening the pain and inflammation that come with arthritis. Take soda, for example, a simple, refreshing drink, right? I can't tell you how many times I saw patients with arthritis sipping on sugary sodas, not realizing they were feeding their pain. These sugary beverages contain high levels of fructose, which is known to trigger the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, small proteins that make inflammation worse in the body. If you're struggling with arthritis, every can of soda is like adding fuel to the fire. And what's worse, the weight gain that often follows soda consumption only compounds the problem. Extra weight puts added stress on weight-bearing joints like the knees and hips, making movement painful and difficult. It's not just the sugar, it's the long-term impact on your joints that matters. And then, there's white bread. I've seen it countless times. It's so easy to reach for a slice in the morning without thinking twice. But the truth is, white bread is high in refined flour, and its glycemic index is off the charts. What does this mean for your joints? Well, consuming high glycemic foods, like white bread, causes your blood sugar levels to spike rapidly, triggering a cascade of inflammation in the body. The body produces inflammatory markers called cytokines in response, and these can directly worsen the pain associated with arthritis. As someone who has studied inflammation for years, I can tell you that your body reacts to this surge in blood sugar with an inflammatory response that exacerbates arthritis. So, while white bread may seem harmless, it's silently feeding the inflammation that causes your pain. Bacon, I've seen it as a breakfast staple in so many homes. And while I understand the appeal of its salty, savory taste, I've spent my career warning patients about the dangers of bacon, especially for those with arthritis. Bacon is packed with saturated fats, and when these fats are broken down in the body, they form advanced glycation end products AGS, which are known to increase inflammation. Not only that, but bacon is also notoriously high in sodium, which can lead to fluid retention, further aggravating joint pain and swelling. If you're dealing with arthritis, the last thing you want is more pressure on your joints, and bacon only contributes to that pressure. I always tell my patients, if you want to enjoy your food without the burden of more inflammation, opt for leaner protein sources, or better yet, plant-based alternatives that won't bring this added burden to your joints. Potato chips, another one of those guilty pleasures. When I was practicing, I saw patients who indulged in these salty, crunchy snacks without realizing how much harm they were doing to their joints. Potato chips are full of trans fats, which, as research has shown, have a direct link to systemic inflammation. Trans fats interfere with the way your cells function, contributing to inflammation throughout the body. On top of that, the high salt content in potato chips can exacerbate fluid retention and increase blood pressure, which puts additional strain on your circulatory system and joints. I always advised my patients to be mindful of processed snacks like potato chips, as they do nothing but contribute to joint pain and swelling. If you want to take control of your arthritis, it's time to start thinking about healthier snack options, ones that won't add to your suffering. Beer. This is another one that hits close to home for so many of my former patients. Many of them loved their nightly glass of beer, unaware that it was causing more harm than good. Beer contains purines, which the body breaks down into uric acid, and high levels of uric acid can lead to gout, a form of arthritis that causes severe pain in the joints. The inflammation from gout can be excruciating, and beer makes it worse. On top of that, beer contains gluten, which can trigger inflammation in individuals with gluten sensitivity, and alcohol itself interferes with your body's ability to regulate inflammation properly. If you're struggling with arthritis, you should be mindful of how beer impacts your body. It's not just about the alcohol, it's about the additional inflammation that comes along with it. Ice cream is another common culprit that most people don't even realize is contributing to their arthritis pain. I can recall countless patients indulging in ice cream as a treat, not understanding that its high sugar and fat content were silently fueling their pain. The sugar in ice cream leads to the production of cytokines, those inflammatory proteins that wreak havoc on your joints. The saturated fats, on the other hand, add to the body's oxidative stress, causing further inflammation. In addition, the high-calorie content can lead to weight gain, which only worsens arthritis symptoms by adding more strain to the joints. So, while it may be a sweet treat, it's not sweet for your joints, and don't get me started on margarine. I've seen so many patients use margarine as a substitute for butter, thinking they're making a healthier choice. The truth is, margarine is full of trans fats, and as I've seen time and time again in my career, trans fats are one of the leading contributors to inflammation in the body. These fats trigger the production of inflammatory cytokines, exacerbating the pain and stiffness associated with arthritis. When I spoke to my patients about margarine, I always encouraged them to switch to healthier fats like olive oil or avocado, which have anti-inflammatory properties that can help reduce joint pain. Pepperoni pizza, a favorite for many, but not for those with arthritis. The cheese and processed meats on pizza are high in saturated fats, which trigger inflammation in the body. And don't forget the refined flour in the pizza dough. The glycemic index of refined flour is high, leading to blood sugar spikes and more inflammation. On top of that, the sodium in pizza toppings can contribute to water retention, increasing the pressure on your joints. While pizza may be delicious, it's not doing your arthritis any favors. Diet sodas, which many people turn to for a low-calorie alternative, might actually be making things worse. These sodas are loaded with artificial sweeteners like aspartame, which has been linked to increased inflammation. Aspartame can alter immune responses, leading to more inflammation, and for those with arthritis, this can worsen joint pain and mobility. If you're struggling with arthritis, it might be time to rethink the diet soda. Opting for water or natural fruit juices can go a long way in helping to manage your symptoms. Instant noodles so convenient, but not for your joints. These noodles are high in sodium, preservatives, and monosodium glutamate (MSG), all of which can exacerbate inflammation. Excess sodium leads to increased blood pressure, putting more strain on your joints. MSG can also cause inflammation in people who are sensitive to it. These simple, quick meals may seem harmless, but they're far from it when it comes to arthritis. Grapeseed oil is another oil that many use in cooking without realizing its potential harm. It contains a high level of omega-6 fatty acids, which, when consumed in excess, can contribute to inflammation. Omega-6 fatty acids promote the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, making arthritis symptoms worse. If you're dealing with inflammation, it's essential to balance omega-6 with omega-3 fatty acids. Replacing grapeseed oil with oils that have a better balance of fatty acids, like olive oil, can help reduce the risk of worsening arthritis symptoms. French fries, who doesn't love them? But the truth is, fries are loaded with unhealthy fats and salt, both of which exacerbate inflammation. The oils used for frying fries often contain omega-6 fatty acids, which, when consumed in excess, lead to chronic inflammation. Plus, The high sodium content in fries contributes to water retention, making joint pain worse. If you want to take control of your arthritis, it's time to stop reaching for fries and start thinking about healthier options. White rice, while seemingly harmless, can actually make arthritis symptoms worse. White rice has a high glycemic index, which causes rapid spikes in blood sugar, triggering an inflammatory response in the body. If you're struggling with arthritis, it's time to switch to healthier grains, like brown rice or quinoa, which have a much lower glycemic index and won't cause those inflammatory spikes. Cheesecake, who can resist a slice, but if you suffer from arthritis, cheesecake is not your friend. Its high sugar and fat content contribute to inflammation in the body. The sugar leads to cytokine production, while the saturated fats increase oxidative stress, both of which worsen arthritis symptoms. If you love dessert, consider healthier alternatives that won't aggravate your joints. Lastly, corn-fed beef steaks, while packed with protein, are also loaded with saturated fats and omega-6 fatty acids, which promote inflammation. Unlike grass-fed beef, which contains more omega-3 fatty acids, corn-fed beef tends to exacerbate arthritis symptoms. If you're looking to reduce inflammation, opt for leaner proteins like fish or grass-fed meats, which contain anti-inflammatory omega-3 south. These foods may seem like small indulgences, but for someone with arthritis, they can make a world of difference. By eliminating or reducing these foods, you can take control of your arthritis and live a more comfortable, pain-free life. As a retired doctor who spent decades working with patients, I've always been fascinated by the intricate processes happening inside our bodies. I spent countless hours in my practice explaining to patients the science behind their pain, especially when it came to conditions like arthritis. When I first started my career, I didn't fully understand just how powerful food could be in triggering or alleviating the symptoms of chronic diseases. It was only after years of observing patients' responses to treatment, coupled with the countless medical studies I had read, that I truly began to appreciate the science of inflammation and its pivotal role in arthritis. Arthritis, as many of you know, is a condition that affects the joints, causing pain, stiffness, and sometimes severe mobility issues. But what exactly is going on inside the body when arthritis flares up? It all comes down to a process called inflammation. Inflammation is the body's natural response to injury or infection. It's meant to protect us by promoting healing, but in the case of arthritis, this response becomes faulty. The immune system, which is supposed to protect us from harmful invaders, turns on the body itself, mistakenly attacking the joints. This is the root cause of the swelling, pain, and stiffness that we associate with arthritis. At its core, arthritis is an autoimmune disorder, which means that the immune system begins to attack healthy tissues. But here's the troubling part. This attack doesn't just happen once and go away. It becomes a continuous cycle, a chronic state of inflammation that keeps coming back. Over time, this constant inflammation breaks down the cartilage in the joints, which normally serves as a cushion, preventing the bones from rubbing against each other. As the cartilage wears away, the bones start to grind against each other, causing intense pain and further swelling. And this, my friends, is where the real trouble begins. The inflammation itself is driven by pro-inflammatory molecules called cytokines. Cytokines are small proteins that play a key role in regulating the immune system and inflammatory responses. In an individual with arthritis, these cytokines are overproduced, leading to an exaggerated inflammatory response. They act like little messengers, signaling other immune cells to come to the site of inflammation and cause even more damage. The presence of these cytokines in the joints accelerates the breakdown of cartilage, further increasing pain and limiting movement. Now, you may be wondering, what causes these cytokines to become so active in the first place? The answer, as I've come to learn over the years, lies in both genetics and environmental factors, especially diet. Certain foods we eat can directly contribute to this inflammatory process, which is why understanding the science behind inflammation is so crucial to managing arthritis. In my many years of practice, I saw how patients who consumed inflammatory foods like sugar, refined carbohydrates, and saturated fats had more frequent flare-ups and worse symptoms. These foods didn't just passively sit in the body. They actively contributed to the production of cytokines, causing the inflammation to spiral out of control. What was once a manageable condition could quickly turn into a debilitating one. This is why it's not just about treating the symptoms. It's about understanding the root cause and taking control of it. Let's take sugar, for example. It's a common culprit that many of us overlook. When you consume sugar, it is quickly metabolized into glucose, and the body processes it in a way that stimulates the production of advanced glycation end products, or AGS. These AGS not only contribute to oxidative stress, another key factor in inflammation, but they also make the immune system more prone to attacking healthy tissue. So, that innocent-looking soda or candy bar could be triggering an inflammatory response that worsens your arthritis. The same can be said for refined carbohydrates, which are found in many processed foods, including white bread, pasta, and pastries. These carbohydrates cause a spike in blood sugar, leading to an increase in insulin levels. Over time, high insulin levels contribute to the formation of fat cells and promote inflammation throughout the body. I saw this time and time again in my practice. Patients who ate a diet high in refined carbs and sugars had significantly higher levels of C-reactive protein (CRP), a marker for systemic inflammation. This is why making small changes to your diet, such as switching from white bread to whole grains, can have such a profound impact on managing arthritis. But it's not just the sugar and carbs. The fats we consume also play a crucial role in inflammation. I often spoke to my patients about the importance of healthy fats. We need fats for many bodily functions, but it's the type of fat that makes all the difference. Saturated fats, which are found in foods like bacon, red meat, and full-fat dairy products, are known to promote inflammation. They increase the production of inflammatory cytokines, which directly contribute to joint pain and swelling. On the other hand, unsaturated fats, such as those found in olive oil and fish, help to reduce inflammation and can even have a protective effect on the joints. One of the most important things I learned during my career is that inflammation doesn't happen in isolation. It's not just something that happens in the joints, it's a systemic issue. When inflammation is present in the joints, it can spread throughout the body, affecting other organs and systems. This is why chronic inflammation is linked to so many other health issues, such as heart disease, diabetes, and even certain types of cancer. I often had to remind my patients that arthritis wasn't just a problem with their knees or hands, it was a sign of something more pervasive happening in their bodies. Another interesting aspect of arthritis that I witnessed in my practice is the role of the gut. You see, the gut is often referred to as the second brain because it plays such a critical role in regulating inflammation throughout the body. The gut is home to trillions of bacteria, and the balance of these bacteria can either promote or suppress inflammation. When the balance is disrupted, often due to a poor diet or stress, the result is an increase in inflammation. This is why I often recommended probiotics or fermented foods to my patients as part of a holistic approach to managing arthritis. By restoring balance to the gut, you can help regulate the immune system and reduce inflammation throughout the body. The science behind inflammation and arthritis is both complex and fascinating. It's a delicate dance between the immune system, the foods we eat, and our overall health, but it's also something we can control. By understanding how food affects the body and how inflammation works, we can take proactive steps to manage arthritis and even slow its progression. In my many years of practice, I saw firsthand how small changes such as cutting out sugary drinks, eating more anti-inflammatory foods, and getting regular exercise could make a world of difference in managing arthritis. This is why I believe so strongly in the power of knowledge. You don't have to simply accept the pain and limitations of arthritis. By understanding the science behind it and taking control of what you put in your body, you can live a fuller, more comfortable life. The journey may not always be easy, but I have seen countless patients take control of their arthritis and feel better than they thought possible. It all starts with understanding the science, and that's why I'm here to share it with you. The road ahead is one where you can reclaim your health, step by step, meal by meal. The first step is understanding the role that food plays in the inflammation process. Once you have that knowledge, you can make informed decisions that empower you to take control of your arthritis, rather than letting it control you. In my many years of medical practice, I've had the privilege of guiding countless patients through the labyrinth of pain, inflammation, and discomfort that comes with arthritis. But as I reached the later stages of my career, I began to see something that gave me hope. I witnessed patients reclaim their lives, not through endless pills and treatments, but through simple, often overlooked changes in their daily habits, specifically their diets. The power of food to either fuel or heal arthritis is profound, and it's something I became deeply passionate about teaching my patients. You see, as a doctor, I was trained to believe that medicine was the answer to everything. But over time, I realized that while medications can help manage symptoms, they often fail to address the root cause of the problem. That root cause, in many cases, is inflammation, and it's not something that can be solved by a quick fix. The real solution lies in how we nourish our bodies, in the foods we choose to eat every day. If you're living with arthritis, the path to relief begins with small changes in your diet, changes that, over time, can reduce inflammation, ease pain, and restore mobility. I want to share with you some of the healthier alternatives that I've seen make a real difference in my patients' lives. These aren't just quick fixes or trends. These are time-tested, science-backed approaches that can truly transform how you feel. Let's begin with a simple but powerful concept: whole grains. I remember sitting across from a patient in their 60s, a man who had been suffering from rheumatoid arthritis for years. His pain was constant, his movement limited. We had tried all the traditional methods, painkillers, physical therapy, but nothing seemed to give him long-lasting relief. One day, I mentioned to him the importance of replacing refined grains like white bread with whole grains. At first, he was skeptical. Whole grain. It didn't sound exciting to him, but I explained that whole grains, like brown rice, quinoa, and oats, are packed with fiber and nutrients that help regulate blood sugar levels, reduce the inflammatory response, and provide steady energy throughout the day. Over time, he incorporated more whole grains into his diet, and what we both noticed was astonishing. His inflammation began to decrease, and his pain started to subside. It was a small change, but it had a profound impact. In my years of practice, I also became a firm believer in the power of healthy fats. I often told my patients, not all fats are the enemy. You see, the body needs fats to function properly. Fats are essential for absorbing vitamins, supporting brain health, and maintaining healthy cell membranes. However, it's the type of fats we consume that makes all the difference. Saturated fats, found in many animal products like red meat and full-fat dairy, can increase inflammation and exacerbate arthritis. But unsaturated fats, like those found in olive oil, avocados, and fatty fish, have the opposite effect. These fats help reduce inflammation and promote joint health. One of my patients, a woman in her early 70s, had been dealing with osteoarthritis in her knees for years. Her pain had reached a point where even walking short distances was a struggle. I recommended she start using olive oil as her primary cooking oil and incorporate more omega-3 rich foods, like salmon and flax seeds, into her meals. Within a few weeks, she reported feeling less stiffness in her joints, and within a few months, she could walk more freely. Healthy fats became her ally, and she, like many others, found relief from pain by simply choosing the right kind of fat. Then there's the incredible healing power of fruits and vegetables. For so many of my patients, vegetables were something they reluctantly added to their meals, often as an afterthought. But what they didn't realize is that these foods are packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that help reduce inflammation and protect the body from further damage. One patient I worked with was particularly fond of sugary snacks, which were contributing to his arthritis flare-ups. I explained to him how certain fruits and vegetables, like berries, spinach, kale, and tomatoes, contain antioxidants that protect against oxidative stress, which is one of the key drivers of inflammation. I also introduced him to the wonders of cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, which contain compounds that can reduce the production of inflammatory cytokines. As he began to swap out processed snacks for these anti-inflammatory foods, he noticed a significant decrease in his joint pain. It wasn't just a change in what he ate, it was a complete transformation in how his body responded to his condition. Along with whole grains and healthy fats, I always recommended my patients focus on lean protein sources. Red meat, while a rich source of protein, is also high in saturated fat, which, as I've mentioned, can trigger inflammation. So, I encouraged my patients to turn to leaner protein sources like chicken, turkey, legumes, and tofu. These plant-based proteins are not only easier on the body in terms of inflammation, but they also provide additional nutrients like fiber and phytonutrients that help regulate the immune system. One of my patients, a middle-aged woman with rheumatoid arthritis, had been consuming red meat regularly, and her symptoms were worsening. After making the switch to more plant-based proteins, her inflammation decreased, and she was able to reduce her reliance on medication. The difference was remarkable, and she felt more energized and less burdened by pain. Of course, no discussion about managing arthritis through diet would be complete without mentioning the importance of hydration. For years, I saw patients who were dehydrated, not realizing that proper hydration could be the missing piece in managing their arthritis. Water is essential for joint health. It helps lubricate the joints, preventing stiffness and pain. I would often remind my patients to drink water throughout the day, especially during flare-ups, as dehydration can exacerbate inflammation and make pain more intense. Simple as it sounds, staying hydrated can go a long way in supporting joint function and alleviating discomfort. Lastly, I cannot stress enough the importance of reducing processed foods and sugars. These foods are inflammatory powerhouses, contributing to the very symptoms we are trying to alleviate. I've seen patients who, despite all the medications and therapies they tried, continued to eat foods rich in sugar and refined carbohydrates. These foods spike blood sugar levels, leading to more inflammation and more pain. The journey to feeling better, to truly taking control of arthritis, involves reducing or eliminating these foods. I encouraged my patients to focus on whole, unprocessed foods and to be mindful of sugar intake, whether from sugary drinks or hidden sugars in packaged foods. Through my decades of experience, I've seen firsthand how these simple dietary changes can have a profound impact on arthritis. The power to manage your condition, to reduce your pain, is not something that lies solely in a bottle of medication. It lies in the foods you choose to nourish your body. By choosing whole grains, healthy fats, lean proteins, fruits and vegetables, and staying hydrated, you can reclaim your mobility, ease your pain, and live a life that isn't dictated by arthritis. It's a long journey, but one that starts with small, consistent steps. And I believe that anyone, regardless of age or how long they've been suffering, can find relief by embracing these healthier alternatives. The power to feel better is in your hands. In my many years of practicing medicine, I've had the privilege of working with countless patients who struggled with arthritis. Some of them came to me with pain so debilitating they could barely lift their own coffee cup. Others came feeling hopeless, resigned to the belief that arthritis was simply a part of growing older, something they just had to endure. What I learned over the years, however, is that arthritis doesn't have to control your life. The pain, the stiffness, the limitations, while real, don't have to be permanent. And what's even more empowering is that you have more control over your condition than you may think. I've seen patients take their lives back, not through more pills, but by taking control of what they put into their bodies, and I want to share that truth with you today. It was never easy, but over the years, I witnessed incredible transformations in my patients, transformations that went beyond the relief of physical pain. There was a certain lightness that came with it, a sense of freedom they hadn't felt in years. I watched people who had been bound by the limitations of arthritis reclaim their mobility, their strength, and most importantly, their independence. They no longer feared getting out of bed in the morning. They could move with ease, even enjoy simple pleasures like a walk in the park or playing with their grandchildren. These weren't miracles, they were the result of consistent, mindful changes to their diet and lifestyle. If you are reading this and wondering whether it's possible for you to find relief, let me tell you with all certainty it is. The path to controlling your arthritis doesn't lie in the hands of a doctor alone. Yes, medical intervention has its place, but the true power to manage arthritis and even reverse its effects lies within you. It lies in the food you eat, the choices you make every single day. Over the years, I've come to understand that arthritis is not just a disease of the joints, it's a disease of the whole body, driven by inflammation. And when you understand that inflammation and you learn how to manage it, you gain back control. I often say to my patients, your body is not the enemy. It's simply reacting to the things you put into it. The good news is that you can change that. The foods we eat have the power to either fuel inflammation or help put out the fire. Through my experience, I've learned that the key to managing arthritis lies in reducing the inflammatory triggers in your diet. For many years, I watched my patients suffer, thinking they were powerless, when in reality, they had the ability to turn things around simply by shifting their food choices. Whole grains, healthy fats, lean proteins, and antioxidant-rich fruits and vegetables. These are the foods that can help reduce inflammation and, over time, ease arthritis pain. These are the foods that nourish the body, that support the immune system, and that give you the energy and strength to fight back against the wear and tear on your joints. But it's not just about what you eat, it's about how you think about your body. For years, I worked with patients who felt trapped in their arthritis. They saw their condition as something they had to accept as an inevitable part of life. They didn't realize that the pain wasn't their fate. They didn't realize that, with the right knowledge, they could take their health back into their own hands. They didn't realize that arthritis, while challenging, doesn't have to define who they are or what they can do. That's why I'm here to help you see that power too. When you take control of your diet and make conscious choices to feed your body with anti-inflammatory foods, something powerful happens. You begin to break the cycle of pain, you begin to stop feeling like a victim of your own body, and you start feeling like a person who has agency, who has the power to make decisions that directly impact your well-being. This doesn't mean you will be pain-free tomorrow, but with patience and consistency, you can begin to feel better. I've seen patients who had been crippled by their arthritis start to walk again, literally and figuratively, because they took control of their health. I've watched them rediscover the joy of movement, the freedom of being able to do what they love without the constant pain that once held them back. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, of course. Every body is different, every case of arthritis is unique. But what I can tell you, from the bottom of my heart, is that there is always hope. There is always something you can do to improve your condition. You don't have to resign yourself to a life of pain and immobility. You don't have to believe that this is just the way it is as you age. I've worked with too many patients, seen too many transformations, to believe otherwise. You have more control over your arthritis than you realize, and the first step is understanding how food impacts your condition. The next step is simple: start taking action. Replace the foods that fuel inflammation with those that help fight it. Cut back on processed foods, sugar, and refined grains. Instead, fill your plate with whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, and colorful fruits and vegetables. These foods won't just support your joints, they will support your entire body, giving you the energy and vitality you need to take on the day. But it's not just about food, it's about making your health a priority. It's about taking the time to nurture your body, to nourish it, and to give it what it truly needs. You are worth the effort. Your health is worth the investment. Throughout my career, I've watched many patients become frustrated with the medical system, feeling like their arthritis was something beyond their control. I want to tell you today that it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to feel helpless. You can take action. You can choose to be proactive, to make small but powerful changes in your life, and to regain control of your health. It starts with understanding how food impacts your arthritis, but it doesn't end there. It ends with you making the decision to live a life that isn't dictated by pain, a life where you can move freely, where you can enjoy the things you love without constantly fighting against your own body. It may take time, it may take patience, but I promise you, the effort will be worth it. As a doctor, I have seen time and again how simple lifestyle changes, especially changes in diet, can transform a person's life. You have the power to manage your arthritis. It's not about waiting for a cure, it's about giving your body the best chance at healing and wellness. And I'm here to tell you that it can be done. The journey may not be easy, but it's a journey worth taking. And it starts today with the choices you make. Take control of your arthritis and take control of your life. You deserve it. As I reflect on the journey of managing arthritis, it becomes abundantly clear that the key to living a life free from constant pain is not necessarily found in medication alone, but in the way we choose to nourish our bodies. For years, I dedicated myself to studying the effects of inflammation, the body's natural response to injury or infection, and its critical role in conditions like arthritis. But as time went on, I realized something that has forever changed my approach to treatment. The battle against arthritis isn't solely fought in the doctor's office with prescriptions. It's fought every single day at the dinner table with the food we choose to consume. Throughout my medical career, I worked with countless patients, some of whom walked in with symptoms so severe they could barely function. Over time, I witnessed incredible transformations in many of them, not through the use of stronger medications or surgeries, but through a conscious decision to change their diet and lifestyle. It wasn't an easy journey for many, and it didn't happen overnight, but the results were profound. Arthritis, as painful and debilitating as it is, does not have to control your life. The choice is yours. The real turning point for many of my patients came when they understood that their daily food choices directly influenced their pain levels and overall health. The foods we eat can either fuel the flames of inflammation, making our symptoms worse, or they can help to calm the storm and support our body's natural healing processes. The way we nourish our bodies truly matters. I've seen individuals who, after cutting out inflammatory foods like processed sugars, refined grains, and unhealthy fats, experience noticeable improvements in their mobility and pain levels. It's not about perfection, it's about making better choices every day and giving your body what it needs to thrive. When I talk about managing arthritis, I don't just mean reducing pain in the moment. I'm talking about improving the quality of life, about feeling empowered to take control of your health instead of feeling like a victim of your condition. I've seen patients who once felt trapped by their arthritis, who thought they would never be able to enjoy the simple things in life again, regain their freedom. They started with small, manageable changes, swapping out white bread for whole grains, replacing processed snacks with fruits and vegetables, opting for healthier fats like olive oil instead of butter, and it made all the difference. They found that they didn't need to rely solely on medication to manage their condition. By making conscious, informed choices about the food they ate, they were able to live more comfortably and move more freely. The deeper lesson here is that we are not powerless. Yes, arthritis can be incredibly difficult to deal with, but it is not something that you have to accept passively. It's a condition that can be managed, and in many cases, its progression can be slowed or even reversed with the right lifestyle choices. You don't have to let arthritis define who you are or limit what you can do. The path to a more comfortable, less painful life begins with small steps that you have control over. So, what can we take away from all of this? The first lesson is that nutrition plays an undeniably crucial role in managing arthritis. By focusing on a diet rich in anti-inflammatory foods, whole grains, healthy fats, lean proteins, fruits, and vegetables, we can reduce the inflammation that fuels arthritis. This isn't just a quick fix. This is a lifestyle change that will benefit your body in countless ways. The second lesson is that small changes, when made consistently, can have a big impact. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Take it one meal at a time. Replace the foods that inflame your joints with those that support your body's healing processes. Each step you take towards a healthier diet is a step toward a life with less pain and greater freedom. The final lesson is this: you have the power to change your life. Arthritis doesn't have to control you. By understanding the link between food and inflammation, you can take proactive steps to manage your symptoms and improve your quality of life. The journey might be slow, but it's worth it. Every small decision you make, whether it's choosing a healthier snack, swapping out processed foods for whole foods, or staying hydrated, adds up and makes a difference. Now, I would love to hear from you. Have you made any changes to your diet that have helped with your arthritis symptoms? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights could inspire others who are on the same journey. And If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support means a great deal to me. As a retired doctor, I'm doing this because I believe it's important to give back and share the knowledge I've gathered over the years. Even the smallest donation to support the channel would be greatly appreciated. It helps me continue creating valuable content for people like you who want to take control of their health. Whether it's $1 or more, your contribution will make a difference, and it will give me the motivation to keep producing content that can help you live a healthier, happier life. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Take care of yourselves, and remember you are not alone in this fight. Together, we can take control of arthritis and reclaim the life you deserve.